welcome to this week's episode of Sound the Alarm. I'm Laura, and this is Terry, and we're joined by a very special co-host, Paul from Zombie Teeth. Hi, Paul.
Hello.
And we also have Lynn from Bad Cop here joining us today to talk about a really cool series that these two have going on. So I guess we'll just get right to it.
Yeah, Paul.
Yes, Paul, Mr. Co-host for this series.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know what we...
So basically, you guys have collaborated on this really cool project called Bassists Against Racists, and raising some funds and featuring a bunch of really cool artists along the way. Do you guys want to kind of let us know how this started and kind of where it's going?
Sure.
Well, on my end, I got a message on Instagram, just kind of out of the blue, and it was like, I've got a message off Lynn, let me have a little look. And it basically said it was to me and Gabby, who is in the Venomous Pinks and runs Chaos Merch. And it just said that Lynn had this idea and wants to work with myself and Gabby, which was insane because, as you know, when we've spoken in the past, I never think that someone's going to think of me and be like, oh, I know who can get to do that. And then, so it's always a big surprise, but the way that it actually came about, I don't know. So Lynn, you can take over from that one.
It was just, with the craziness of this year, and crazy is very, very an understatement to say the least. I just wanted to do more and didn't know how. So I figured, okay, what do I have? I'm a bass player. Oh, I'm a bassist. That rhymes with racist, and I'm against that. Shit, that's a cool slogan. So why not create merch that, because people, there are people out there that'll still buy merch, which is great. But instead, I was like, this is nothing to do with making any sort of profit. This is I want to make sure that how can we figure out a way to continuously raise money for Black Lives Matter or any anti-racism campaigns or charities. And I was like, well, why don't we try to hey, Gabby, why don't we try to feature a new bass player each month that would be on board? Of course, we'd have to get their permission. They would choose the photo, blah, blah, blah. But if they're on board, awesome. That means we can keep this going. And I have no idea how long it'll last, but until we run out of bass players.
Well, hopefully.
So far, it's been really good. And so, when Gabby and I were talking about it at first, she was like, can you do the artwork? I'm like, girl, no. And we were just, and the first person I thought of that has been just killing it. And one of my favorite shirts that Paul makes is the skeleton Dario one. The skeleton Dario one. I wear that shirt all the time, by the way. And so I just hit up Paul and I was like, hey, look, man, are you interested in doing something like this? We can certainly contribute, whatever production cost it would take for not only for Gabby to, print out these shirts and order them and ship them, but also as an artist as well. And Paul has been so incredibly generous and gracious with just donating his time, creating these, the graphic for the front, which have been absolutely killer. And we've had, we started off with myself to see how it would work out, and
which she didn't want.
I was like,
when we were talking about it, I was like, well, Lynn, you're on the first one, right? Because it's your thing. And she was like, oh, I don't know if I want to be on a t-shirt. It's like, what?
I know.
So yeah. So, it almost wasn't Lynn on the first shirt, but
they twisted my arm.
Now, yeah, I follow your stuff all the time, and social justice issues have been very much on the forefront of what you share. I am fortunate enough to be in Canada, so I don't see it to the scale that you guys are seeing it right now, except for what, friends are sharing and stuff like that, the news is giving me. But you guys are essentially living it. And the fact that you came up wanting to do something, you know, rarely do we ever hear people going like, I can't draw, but I'm a bassist and I have a platform and let's just do it. And how fantastic is that? Now, how has been the response to all this? Are people just...
It's been great. Like, you know, I don't have the numbers, to be honest with you. That's all on Gabby's end. But I do know that, like, so far we featured Intruder Purple of Masked Intruder in November, and Bungle Preacher of the Barstool Preachers in December, and then January Miguel Chen of Teenage Bottle Rocket. And so far we've been able to raise about $2,700.
Whoa.
That's awesome.
Just to Black Lives Matter, you know? And like, that's a pretty impressive amount, like, given a pandemic, given it's only been a few months. And like, even if it was only like $270 or $27, it's just something, you know, like something that can be consistent. And that way we're giving back on a constant basis. And like, I've decided just to take on the role of organizing this and being the liaison to reaching out to bass players, seeing if they're interested. And we got some exciting ones coming up. So stay tuned, because I'm not telling you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I sent Lynn and Gabby a photo of me when I was 17 with my bass. So
I think you should be.
no.
You should be.
No.
You're the artist. You should be featured too.
No.
I think.
Paul,
I'm featured on every single one.
Yourself like that. I think that would be really cool.
I'm featured on every single one of them because I do the artwork. So, you know, and my bass playing is nominal at best. So that's no. You know, I just thought it was a funny thing to be like, look at me when I was young, when I got bleached blonde hair. And
That's a great one.
But yeah, it's quite exciting seeing some of the potential people that are coming up, and then obviously there's that not knowing as well, of being like, oh, I wonder if I could get that person. I wonder if I could get that person.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, the worst they can do is it's either they don't respond back or they say I'm not interested, and it's okay if you're not interested. If you like, I would love for you to be. It's a great cause. But you know, if a bass player decides that they don't want to be a part of it, then that's totally fine too. And it's no pressure. We're incredibly flexible with like the bass player would have to choose the photo, and then Paul works his magic in creating the graphic for that. And, you know, the bass player will have to approve that artwork. We don't just put it out there. Everything is consensual.
Yeah. And it has
to be, right? Anatomy is such a big, important thing these days. Always has been, but, you know, now that it's been highlighted and spotlighted, like, thank God that you're using those, you know, the term consent. You know, we're not doing this without consent. We're not just throwing anybody on, because you really don't know. They may have some reason. And, you know, awesome that you can recognize that.
They also might not be against racists. You don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like with Miguel was a particularly different scenario, because it wasn't like he was like, oh, there's good people on both sides. He didn't use that, but he used the idea of the potential, no matter how fucking vile somebody is. And I don't agree with this whole, you know, I don't, but I can respect his ideas on and his beliefs on this, is that you got to give people a chance to be able to be better. And that's his whole thing, you know? And so he was very, very adamant about like not having it be basis against racists on his shirt, because he doesn't truly believe in being against people. He is against the idea. And I was like, that's okay. That's fine. If you want to do it, the message is still there. And we're still able to raise money for the cause, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now his shirt's a little bit different. So all the other shirts have been bassist against racist, but his is bassism against racism, which is still very clear to the message. I can see wanting to hope that somebody can be educated enough and change. Yeah, if they want to be. Now, I'm a person of science, so I definitely kind of present myself with the facts that are presented with at the time, but am always open that if different facts were to come and are shown to be true, to alter my beliefs and my decisions that way. So I do think that there is potential, assuming, and sometimes at the time they don't want to learn, but I do think as I get older, I kind of find that my heart just kind of is doing this a bit more. And at the time when I was really young, I was like, there's no effing way anyone's getting in here. But as I'm getting older, I'm getting this slowly starting to accept new ideas either through song or through art or things that I might not have agreed with before, and definitely going like, okay, I can see it now. And I don't know if that's just perspective. Like I kind of look at musicians, that's you guys, what you sing 5 years ago isn't necessarily what you're going to be singing now because
we've evolved.
Have changed.
I respect his his beliefs in that, and we respected his request. And I told him up front, I was like, look, I don't agree with you 100%, but I respect where you're coming from here. Because to me, I'm like, when people, they make the conscious choice to storm the fucking Capitol and shit like that, like, and do that shit. You were consciously doing this. You were consciously denying that these things are existing, and that it's I don't know. I can go into a whole rabbit hole with that shit, but but the whole point of this this campaign, and I'm hoping to work other projects with Paul and Gabby, to just keep doing more, like, and that's just, just seeing everything happening and unfolding this year was just kind of like it's so heartbreaking, and I can't imagine. None of us could ever imagine or what it would be like. But what we can do is listen and understand and be supportive. And this is my way of doing this. Is Paul's way of doing it. This is Gabby's way of doing it. And all the while, like, Gabby is a woman of color that owns her own business. So you're supporting a woman of color's business at the same time. So double whammy, yeah, we hope to keep it going as long as we can, we've got a good roster right now. So, it's going to be, I'm confident that we'll be able to at least get through this year.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. So
yeah. I'm as I've said to you in the past, I'm here for anything you want me to do. Like, Lynn sent me a message, do you want to do something? It was just like, yes, like straight away. Yes, whatever it is, I'm in.
Well,
So
and that's the thing about you, Paul. Like, yeah, we're gonna shine some light on you, whether you want it or not. But over the last couple of years, everyone knows who you are, and it's because your heart is huge. He's always willing to help other people out. We've seen your stuff on tons of fundraisers, tons of campaigns, all for like these amazing causes that are so easy to get behind. So it makes it hard not to love you and hard not to want to work with you. And like she said, you're like one of the first people that comes into mind for something like this, and I think that has a lot to say, like, for your business too.
Thanks. I struggle with the people knowing who I am thing. That's, like the story that I've told. I don't know if I told it when I was at the technically the Punk in Drublic festival in the UK. and there was a woman walking towards me in a bad cop shirt, and I stopped her and said, "I really like your shirt," and she went, "I follow you on Instagram." Like out of a whole festival, I was just like, "What?" so it always like throws me off. I'm just like, "What? No, I'm just I'm in my kitchen, doing my thing." So
yeah, that's how it starts. That's how all those really awesome things start, and they grow into even bigger, more beautiful businesses and whatever you decide to do with it. So I'm here for it
like
all.
Wildfire, just, and then becomes a giant bushfire. And you don't want to put this one out though, so we're cool. Just keep going with it.
Yeah. See, the thing is, I did do fundraisers on my own, but then you all froze for a second there, so I missed
we're back.
bit.
We saw it too.
Right. So I've done fundraising and things in the past, but obviously it's just me and my following. So having the opportunity to potentially reach a much larger base of people, because that's, at the end of the day, raising money is what's important, because I did the one about the tax on sanitary products, and I did that in the UK for some charities, and I did it with the Sidewalk Project, and then I did the breast cancer one, which we did after Stacey told me about her diagnosis. So we did that, and it's like it's all well and good, and raising any kind of money is great, but I always hope to raise more. So having this platform to kind of get to a much wider base is a lot more exciting and a lot more kind of like it's. I don't know. It's probably just myself self-deprecating. It's more like it feels more worthwhile because I want to do more good, if that makes sense. So
you did.
Yeah. So it's good. It's good, and it's like they've been well received. I've seen some comments on Facebook, maybe not so much about my artwork, but from everything I've heard, they've sold well. So those people on Facebook don't know what they're talking about.
They never do.
No,
I think the artwork is great. You can tell. They're all done in that. Okay, yeah, that's zombie teeth. You have like a certain style that's you can pinpoint it really quick. But also, like, they capture each artist too. You know what I mean? Like, Lynn is so Lynn, like skyrocketing in the air. You know what I mean? That New York hardcore tattoo on her leg. They all have these like great characteristics and like little details. Like, you're putting time into these. It's not something that's just thrown together and slapped on a t-shirt really quick. It's thought of like on all ends of the spectrum, whether it be just from Lynn, from you, and then all Gabby on execution. Like, everything's been so well thought out and planned, and I think it really shows. And I think that's why people are like, yeah, this is a great cause. These are beautifully done, executed. Like, why not spend our money on these and support this? And if you can listen to some music that you haven't heard before too, that's another huge plus.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've seen people that are making a collection. They're getting every one, so they're just going to have a wardrobe full of shirts. So, yeah,
that is a good idea. You could do like a box set at the end.
Yeah, collect all 12. Collect the 2021 line. And all proceeds go to Black Lives Matter. By the way,
get a stamp for each one, and when they get so many, they get a special design
one
shirt.
Get the set shirt.
Yeah. So I still think we should come up with a logo. Well, but that's just me. It'd be nice to have like a little logo maybe, but just for Gabby's site more so to kind of. Because then she can start to collate them and put them on their own page.
Oh yeah,
but that's just me.
That is a good idea. Look at you, Paul.
Yeah, with his ideas. Oh, you ladies wonderful, by the way.
Oh my gosh, thank you. Are you serious? I'm in my pajamas.
I haven't gotten out of this outfit all day. I like when you messaged me, I was like, oh shit. I'm like sitting on my couch watching Ab Fab, and I'm like, oh, we're putting something on.
It's weird. Like, we never would have thought before COVID and quarantine and all that stuff to like, oh yeah, let's do it. I mean, is this a podcast? Like, what is this? It's a YouTube show. So yeah, our YouTube show, we never would have thought to do something like this. You know, we were always like, yeah, let's go to the shows. Let's do things at the show. Mm-hmm. And then we couldn't do that. So it's like, well, we can't do this. These people obviously can't go on the show to put their stuff out there. So how can we like make sure that our friends and our artists and everybody involved in this are still like being put out there, you know? And like, even if we only have 300 followers or whatever, it's still 300 people that are like, hey, what do you have to offer? So if we could get somebody to check out Bassists Against Racists, like, I think that's awesome. You know, if we could get one person, great. If we could get 10 people, even better. Yeah. And that stuff excites me. So I don't know. It's cool to like see where we would have been like a year ago, like looking at things and where our plans were and stuff. And now we're like, okay, let's make sure we can keep pushing things like this. It's just so crazy. And I'm sure it feels the same for you too. Your whole life has just literally been flipped.
You know, it's like, I think I said this on the My Carrera podcast, but it's like one of those things I think that has always been something that I've grown with, just because of having family that were, you know, put in a very drastic predicament too, and had their life changed very, very quickly over a long period of time, is that it's just simply put, there are things that are completely out of your control. And what you can do is you can take what you know, what you've been given, and go from there. And take any negative shit. I mean, let's face it, the pandemic, these crazy MAGA QAnon fuckers,
crazy,
all this, like all this shit. Like, this is not good. So what can we do that has a positive effect on it? Okay, well, I'm going to make every donation to Planned Parenthood under Mike Pence's name, for example. I'm going to.
I like that.
I do too. That's awesome.
I can do that tonight.
You know, I took that, sorry excuse of a stimulus check that was just dropped of a whopping $600, which, is a lot of money.
No, it really isn't.
But it's not.
But it's not. When you're getting nothing, I could go off this all day. Oh, shit.
Oh, girl. So, fuck Mitch McConnell. I'm going to donate all that money to all the local businesses in my area that are black and person of color owned. I'm going to use some of that money to donate to charities that he doesn't like, under his name. Like, I will do, like, if you want to do, it's a positive impact on some negative shit. So.
Yeah, and hopefully he just gets like a bunch of tax receipts come back and be like, Planned Parenthood, what the fuck?
I just hope that he just like shrivels up. Like,
he's a bag of skin.
Someone just puts like a drop of water and he just like shrivels. Like, I don't know. What a vile, sorry excuse for a human.
Yeah.
Anybody. Ted Cruz.
I always, in my head, growing up, and maybe it's just me being ignorant, because maybe I'm Canadian, but, I always thought going into service, civil service, was always for the betterment of the people. And last few years have shown me that this isn't, especially from the state, watching the States, it's not happening. You do have great people, AOC's just out there fucking killing it. Bernie's out there fucking killing it every single day. And you know, there's hope. There is some hope out there. But then you have those assholes at McConnell that just $600. I'm in Canada, so it's a fucking punch in the face. It's a slap in the face. We get free healthcare and we get $2,000 a month. You know,
Trudeau is the shit. Like, I mean, much better. I'll just say that. Much better.
Much better.
Yeah.
And, you know, nice on the eyes too. So.
But you know, I don't know what you guys need to do collectively. Like, you guys are screaming at this point. Like, what more needs to happen?
See, the problem is the Orange Man has created such a fucking divide between us, dude, that it's like, how can we repair this? You know what I mean? Like, how do you literally have two, it's like we've just been split in two. How do you make everybody, and it's not like you can get everybody seeing on the same playing field, because that's just not a thing. But like, there has to be, you almost have to wonder, like, there has to be some hope for humanity, and like some thought, like in the back of your right wing brain, that has like a sense of decency anywhere. Like, it's crazy to me, and it's a little scary to watch and like see what's going to happen here in the next week or two. You know what I mean? With everything going down, like, what are we in for? We saw what just happened a couple weeks ago. What are we in for now? And
we're warned and nothing. Like, I don't know what to expect. I mean, deep down, I am legitimately scared. Not just for us, but like, and it's not even just about like, you know, the inauguration. I'm like, this pandemic it's not gonna be over for a very long time. And at this rate, especially with all these people, like people just not taking it seriously, on top of going to the goddamn Capitol and like, you see those videos? How many people wore masks? How many? And then you go, and then you want to compare them to the Black Lives Matter protest where everyone is wearing a mask. My partner and I participated in one of the marches in Long Beach. It was actually the day that evening was when downtown Long Beach got fucking, you know, looted and shit like that, which was very, very sad to see, especially for like the local businesses there. I could give a shit about fucking corporate businesses, but it's the like mom and pop shops that got affected by that, which was really, really sad to see. But like when we went to the march, like everybody, like I only stood next to my partner. Everybody was even walking at a safe distance. There was nobody really close. And then it got to the point where there were more people coming in, and it was just too uncomfortable for me to health-wise to want to be standing there anymore. So, you know, but these ingrates, I don't understand why you're defending, like, what? I can't because like I can't think that way, and I don't know how to think that way. I don't want to think that way. I don't want to understand the psyche behind, well, all lives matter. And it's like, you do not understand the concept of empathy. You do not understand the concept of compassion. You are in complete denial of what, you know, the African American community has gone through and still goes through. I will never know. None of you guys will ever know, you know, but we can't, but there's no denying what's going on.
Yeah, you can't ignore the fact that there's a problem, and has been for so long, you know. You can't deny it anymore. It's out in the open. It is, you know, and now luckily with the age of digital media and people with cell phones and being able to tape and put, you know, up front what these issues are, and being able to tape a Black person getting arrested and having somebody stomp on his neck to the point where this person dies. Like, and for people to even defend it, it's absolutely, it's fucked. I can't, you know, my brain, much like yours, cannot understand how people are getting free from this, how people are not facing trial. Like, who gives a shit well, no, I'm not going to say that because I do give a shit what I think about it towards that. But, why isn't everybody pissed about this is what I don't understand. Every single person should be upset about this, and they're not. And
Like
that's fine.
like when the anger over pulling Confederate statues down. I'm like, do you understand what the Confederacy was? It's not a tradition. It's a treachery. Like, period.
Right. And just because we made mistakes then doesn't mean that we need to broadcast them and monument them and keep them here. Like we said earlier, we have to evolve. You have to change. And it does go back to that, like, okay, maybe you're learning things along the way, and that's a learning thing for us. Get that shit out of here. Like, this isn't who we are supposed to be anymore. So the fact that this is upsetting a ton of the population is just mind-blowing to me. That, like, how do you not have that any sense of humanity? How do you not see the struggles of these people who are just like you? I will never understand. I don't think any of us will, which is why we're here.
Did you see? I don't know how much news coverage it got over in America. The in Bristol in the UK, they dragged a statue off its plinth and then dragged it down the street and threw it into the harbour.
I've seen many videos of statues being torn down and thrown into the water.
It was just the fact they dragged it down the street with the crowd following, and then they tipped it in, and everyone's like, "Way!" And then, of course, there was still people in uproar. And Jamie from Aerial Salad, because they've got a podcast and. They said this thing that it made me laugh because it was like they were talking about Hitler and how there's no statues of Hitler in Germany, so nobody knows who he is or what happened, like, because there's no statues there, like, obviously in a sarcastic way. And it's like, because there's that whole thing about it's history. It's like, but just pulling down the statue isn't going to suddenly erase that person from your memory. You're not going to suddenly not know who that person is. And it just made me laugh because it was as eloquent as he always is. It was kind of funny, but yeah, we had it over here with people spray painting about Winston Churchill being a racist on his statue, and then the next weekend all the patriots went down to protect the statues. And they put like a board. They boarded it up. They built like a wooden thing around the statue to protect it. I just
don't get it.
So,
what a time we live in, y'all.
Yeah, what a time.
Never thought and never dreamed in a million years that we live in during a pandemic to this extent, Yeah.
But I'm kind of happy to see that people are actually upset at and demanding change, and the good thing about it too is that a lot of our kids aren't going to be learning that same shit. They're just not going to be, it won't be normal for segregation when they went to school, like my parents, went to school and got, you had your 2 separate schools for everybody. And, my kids will never know that. My kids go to a multicultural school. It's public. They get to learn about, tons of different religions, tons of different ways of life, and, respecting everybody. And that's been the whole message, how I'm raising them. It has been about inclusion and loving them. And it doesn't matter the color of the skin or who they love or what they do. As long as they are good people, that's all that matters. As long as what they're doing is right. And I hope that message eventually just keeps, and it will, because there's so many people like us who are, against it. Like when everything for BLM went down, what I was really thrilled to see were the other countries. Nothing like that had happened in our own countries, even though, yes, it kind of did. But we decided to march with you guys in solidarity because we recognize that, yes, here in Canada, it's an issue too. So we need to show that, yes, we're not for this either. In my town, we had a BLM march. We're just a town of 6,000 people. So it wasn't big by any means, but the whole town, because we were in pandemic, you were able to like turn your car on and have it beep, and just to show that we are in complete solidarity. And it was nice to hear all these car horns just going all around town, and knowing that people were actually standing by. And I know for the UK it was the same thing. So know that you guys, especially in the States, are not alone in this, that the rest of the world is watching, and we want that change for you guys too. And we really hope you guys really do achieve it.
God, what an embarrassment our fucking country's been.
It's like we wake up every day almost, and I'm sure you probably feel the same. You're like, oh, okay, what now? Like, what's it going to be today? And you're almost like,
what's going on today? Oh, FBI sends warning about all 50 capitals being under siege by insurrectionists. Okay.
oh, so that's our morning. Yeah. And it's like, how did we get here? How have we let ourselves get this far? And like, do you want to talk about red flags? Like the last 4 years have been like a whole, like wave the red flag. You know what I mean? How is it that now it took something like this and still people are not getting it, like
I feel like this whole thing, it's like being in the most abusive relationship and like not being able to get out.
yeah, it's like you're just you're crawling and crawling and crawling and keep falling down, and it's just getting worse and worse. And it's like, where do we go from here?
But I mean, at this, like, we just need to stand our ground until something changes, which is a shitty thing to think about sometimes. But all we can do is just keep going. All we can do is continue to support the people that we need to support. All we can do is to not shun, but vow to work towards a world where we don't have to do this.
It's like it goes back to what Terry said too. There's a whole other generation coming up that has the potential to be the greatest yet, to grow up no hate, to grow up not seeing any of that stuff. So it's like we need to do our part and make sure that happens, we don't want to have more of this segregation and all of this just filling our lives, because that's what it's going to be. And there is hope, there's hope, and there has to be. And I guess it's in us now. Like you said, we have to kind of stand our ground until we can change things, because there's a whole world pretty much counting on it.
Yeah. And I mean, not to sound like pessimistic or anything, I don't think any of this is going to be resolved during our lifetime. But what we can do is set it so it's ready and it's done, or at least gearing towards the right direction. We're the compass now.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, it's so shitty that it's still, I mean, like when you read about these things and learn about them in school, and like, it's still a learning process. Cause I didn't even know about Tulsa. I didn't know about Tulsa until this year. That's something that didn't teach me in high school. It didn't teach us in school.
And there's so much that we're, like you just said, you didn't learn about it until this year. There's so much that we haven't learned about that we're being exposed to now. So why not be able to educate and to learn these things and continue growing and spread awareness about it all?
And like, stop depriving this generation from what they need to know to prepare for this world, because it's fucking ugly sometimes,
It's the fact that the Tulsa thing as well. A lot of people learn about it through the Watchmen TV show.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen it.
I haven't either.
No, I haven't, because we don't get whatever TV channel over here. Yeah, we don't get that. So, but yeah, people did learn about it in a TV show about superheroes. Like, there's something kind of wrong when that's the way
Where you're getting your
that people are
information
getting
from.
their information from. But then, you know, there's things that I've learned through my life, through music, through songs, through lyrics. Like, you know, I kind of put kind of my the way I am and my kind of ideals and things. Like, you know, when I was younger, I used to listen to a lot of propaganda, you know, and that was like, you know, when I was 13 in so, you know, well, it was a bit older than 13. So in like 1995, 94, 95, when, you know, the word vegan, nobody knew the word vegan, you know, really. Like, it's like, what is this? And then, you know, yeah, their lyrics and things and things like that. And then all the kind of other bands that would kind of promote, you know, inclusion and you know, not mattering who someone is, you know, and I think that from that growing up has kind of shaped who I am, and a lot can be said about, like I say, TV shows that aren't necessarily an educational TV show, but you learn things, and then music you learn because you listen to the lyrics, and then you're like,
Well, it's
what
like,
is
you
that?
know, we talked to
talk
Jason
about this all the
Hall
time.
from-
We talked about it this morning, actually.
Yeah. And we did, yeah. But we talked to Jason Hall last week from Western Addiction, and he said the same thing. You know, like growing up listening to people or to groups like Bad Religion. You know, at like 12 years old, you don't know what they're talking about. You have no idea. So like, you want to look that up, and you want to read it, and you want to understand what they're talking about, and then like you just said, that opens up a door. And if that's going to be a way to kind of get a little bit of information and some education and make you curious about things and to learn things, then at least it's something, you know?
Yeah, and like things like inclusion and, you know, these matters, especially with the police and stuff, they've been talking about it, especially through punk, for years now. Years and years. Like, I want to look, if you go look at propaganda and pull it 20 years ago, they were bitching about this. You know, this was an issue to them. And, you know, for a long time, like Jason and us, we talked about this. It was like, it's surprising to me that only now are we getting inclusion courses through work. And why wasn't this something that we grew up with? You know, like I grew up in a very white community. There was nothing. It was never discussed. We never talked about it. But I was lucky to, through music, be able to educate myself that when now people are just catching up, you know, it's surprising to me that we're not all on the same plane with this right now. But, you know, I guess it's going to take some time, and fingers crossed.
It is continuing, though. I mean, you just look at the new Bad Cop album, like the messages that are on that is like, you know, I can't listen to, but I get all the way through the album, and there's a couple of songs in there where I get a little bit emotional because since I had kids, I've got so much empathy that I can listen to anything, watch a TV show that I'm not really into, but something happens and I can be like, oh, but yeah, I get all the way through that album, and then I get to that last track, and like every time I'm just like, no, I'm okay. So, but yeah, you know, the songs that you wrote that are on the are very much like, they're almost like Certain Kind of Monster, almost kind of preempted what this year was going to be, you know, and it's kind of crazy. And I know it's been going on for a while, but it just, because it dropped last year now.
Yeah.
It just, when I listened to it, it was just like, this is like, it was just at the right time to be like, yeah, you know, this means everything. So okay.
And that's like one of the really great things about music too. And like, yeah, this shit sucks, all of this stuff that's been happening, but like, it is almost like a fuel to the fire. You know what I mean? Like you just said, we've gotten so many great tracks and so much great music and so much drive out of people to like want to do things and to want to sing about it and want to be proactive about stuff. So I guess that's like a good thing about it, you know, like we have to take that something positive out of something negative, and all of that I think has been really beautiful, is seeing like how many people, yes, are genuinely upset and what they have to say about it and what they can also do about it too, you know, because there's so many people I mean, look at all of us. Like we're very lucky. You know what I mean? We really are. So for us to be able to like put our message out and have it hit with people who aren't as lucky is a huge thing. Especially in like during a time like this, you know?
Yeah, I agree.
If anyone wants to kind of see what new shirts you guys have coming up or want to purchase a shirt, how would they do so?
Well, right now we have, for the month of January, we have pre-orders available for the Miguel Chen of Teenage Bottle Rocket, featured for January. So pre-orders are available now at Chaos Merch. I think it's chaosmerch.com, but if you go to Chaos Merch LLC on Instagram, there's a little link there too. And then you're just gonna have to wait and see who we feature next. I mean,
I'm very excited to
you don't have to follow us and find out.
Well, and Paul, thank you so much for joining us. Hopefully we see Paul with us continuing, and maybe hopefully we'll be highlighting a few more shirts along the way. So definitely thank you so much for taking the time. Lindley with Back Up, creator of Bassists Against Racists. Thank you again so much.
Thank you for having me. And Laura, at some point, I really want one of your sandwiches.
I will give you all of the sandwiches. Just come to me.
I know. I just like, because you're in Ithaca, yeah?
I'm right near Ithaca. I'm pretty close.
Portland?
Utica.
Oh, Utica. Okay. Got
Everyone's like, what are you guys talking about? Yeah, we're from New York. What?
Western New York, baby. Many a time in Canandaigua and Binghamton. No, I'm kidding.
Oh, Binghamton.
All right, y'all. You have a great weekend.
Yes, you too. Thanks, Lynn.
It was great to see all you. Yeah, hit me up anytime.
Thank you so much.
Have a great one.
Bye.